if you open your heart to Satan, he'll accept the invitation. Right? It's not he won't refuse. Right? And and if someone is going to allow him in, he'll take it. He'll take the opportunity.
Scott, can you sit in that chair for a second? Why? Because I want to focus.
I was with a group that investigated haunted houses. We kind of almost all had specialties. We had a doctor, a nurse, a psychologist. I was more of a videographer, and I was, I would take the pictures, take video, help restrain. A producer from ABC came across our website, and we had a featured article about a possible possession case we're working on, and they asked if we were interested in doing a primetime special on that, and we said, of course, we're interested.
This was about 20, 25 years ago, and there were no shows on TV. This was all before the paranormal investigators. I think we were trailblazers, but even in doing the investigations and the examinations and assessments of the people, I didn't have a role model for that. There was no textbook, that you can just open up and study. I just kind of, learned as I went along and through experience with the different cases, with the different families, and with the different people involved. And there were certain people in the group that felt all the cases that came to us were possessed. I personally did not feel that way. My personal opinion and my professional opinion at that point, I ruled out a significant number of those cases. And if you're asking for a ratio, I would say probably close to 2/3 I would rule out.
This was our first exorcism we ever were involved with, and we actually went to the house. It wasn't in the church. And we didn't know what was going to happen because the girl didn't believe she was possessed, and we weren't sure either. And she said, I'm probably not going to have any reaction.
But that morning, it was just a very angry feeling in that room, just very cold. The temperature in the room dropped many, many times. It would vary up and down, up and down.
And as soon as the priest started doing his litany of the saints, she started, moving around in her chair and screaming and breaking out of her restraints. And she just stood up like this and broke out of every restraint we had and went towards the priest. And she was trying to gouge her own eyes out. And during that point, I tried to restrain her hands from doing that, and she bit me.
One of the realities or characteristics that you need to see if a person is possessed is one of the signs. You need 4 signs: an extraordinary strength, the knowledge of ancient languages, fear of sacred things, and the knowledge of hidden or very far away things. I think that the 3 first can be invented. I can fake an extraordinary force. I can talk to you in Latin or Greek because I remember it from school. I can fake that I'm afraid of the crucifix. I can fake it. But what I cannot invent or cannot fake is to know things that really happened in your life that is just absolutely impossible for me to know.
Well, you always go to the common sense. Well, maybe she overheard us talking, or she heard a conversation that we had, or maybe her mother knew something about us that, she just inadvertently, blurted out to her. Maybe she read something about us on the internet, on the website. You try to have those common sense approaches to things, but sometimes you just know there's no way they could have known that. There are very personal things about our families, personal events that have happened, like, say, that morning. There's no possible way. Something I didn't even talk about with my colleagues. How would they know that? I can't explain it.
One of the things I think that convinced me that there's something to this, in very rare cases, there's something to this beyond simple superstition or active imagination, was the fact that I was able to interview people who were not Catholic priests, who were skeptics, who were scientists, who themselves had these experiences, and they couldn't explain them, and they were matching up with what the exorcists said they were seeing themselves.
The real horror, the real pain, what hurts in possession is the presence of the evil one. And when we start an exorcism, within the first 20 minutes we know whether it's genuine or not. Suddenly, it becomes evidence, palpably evident, like an invisible animal clawing at you with claws you can't escape. There are physical manifestations like changing temperature, the smells, odors, objects flying around, and then there's violence on the part of the possessed person at times. They have to be held down, that's why you have assistants who are not afraid. Because a lot of people, the moment they enter their first exorcism, it scares them. It's the most unhealthy, insalubrious, mucky, dirty, inhuman activity you could participate in, but we must in order to save these people. Now, the exorcist and his assistant and the possessed person were in the presence of something that hates us in a way that you've never felt hated before.
When you get beyond the sensational, like I did when I was watching these exorcisms, it's one of the things that really stands out in your mind. These people are suffering. And from a human level, you want to help them get better.
We're tested oftentimes, of course, and that morning was no different. That exorcism went on for a number of hours, I believe, but afterwards, there was such a change in the room. It was absolutely beautiful. Words cannot even describe the change.
When they first approached us, I think we were just more excited to be on TV. And after it came out, we saw the impact it had and how many people were in need around the country. And they said they can't find help in their area.
Yalla bir ardına.